Hugh Glass was a fur trapper. While in the woods, he was mauled by a bear. He survived by crawling out of the woods for 6 weeks to get to people for them to help him, and he did end up surviving. Ricky McGee was just driving around in Australia and picked up this hitchhiker that drugged his drink, and then he ended up pulling over and met these two guys, and they robbed him of all of his things and his truck, leaving him in the Australian outback for 71 days by himself trying to survive. Hugh Glass was mauled by a bear in the woods while he was trapping. He survived the interaction and had to crawl out of the forest for 6 weeks to get back to the city and get help. After the incident, he decided to start trapping again. Then while trapping, he got into another event where a group of Native Americans attacked Glass and he was hit with an arrowhead in the back. He died after this incident. Ricky McGee was drugged by a hitchhiker, then robbed of his truck and shoes, stranding him in the Australian outback for 71 days with no food or water. McGee had to survive off of finding puddles and watering holes for hydration. He ate insects and every once in a while found an edible plant for him to eat. He had an infection growing under his teeth that could have been fatal, but he pried it out with his keys to avoid the effects of the infection. Hugh Glass has the ability to act independently because he was able to bring himself out of the woods after crawling for 6 weeks to be able to get back to safety after being mauled by a bear. He doesn't have the abilities to separate himself from an unhealthy situation because he put himself in the woods where he was mauled by the bear. He does have a sense of future because he knew he could survive as long as he got himself out of the woods. Ricky McGee has the ability to act independently because he was able to make decisions like prying the infection out of under his teeth to be able to survive those 71 days without any food or water. In Ricky McGee's situation, one of the most critical things he did was notice the infection going under his teeth. If Ricky didn't notice this infection, it could have infected his whole body and killed him. But by noticing this and getting rid of it by prying it out with his keys, he saved his own life during his 71 days in the Australian outback. In Hugh Glass's situation, his choice to not give up and decide to crawl for 6 weeks out of the forest, which he did end up surviving in, was a critical decision because it saved his life instead of giving up and just dying out in the forest after being mauled by the bear.